Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I'm coming to you with a video all about my 2018 Bookish New Year's resolutions. This video is being sponsored by HarperCollins Publishers, so thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video, and that is in order to celebrate the release of Love, Life, and the List by Casey West. This book just released on December 26th, so you can now get your hands on a copy of it. This book is a YA contemporary that follows the story of this girl named Abby who has had a crush on her best friend Cooper for a very long time, but it's an unrequited crush. She's also an artist, and recently she entered some of her art in an art show, but her art was rejected and she was told that it was because her art didn't have enough heart to it. So because of that, she decides to make what she calls the heart list, which is essentially a list of things that she wants to try and accomplish in order to gain some more life experiences and give her artwork some more depth. She then asks her best friend Cooper to try and help her accomplish all of the things on this list. And then Abby's relationship with him, as well as her relationship with herself, begin to develop from there. Like I mentioned, this book was released on December 26th, so it is out now and you can go and get yourself a copy if the synopsis sounds interesting to you. But because in Love, Life, and the List, Abby makes this list of things that she wants to accomplish, that is what inspired this video. So I'm going to be talking about the list of things that I want to accomplish, bookish goals that I have for the next year, since the new year is 2 days away, and I cannot believe it's almost 2018. 2017 was a year, but hopefully 2018 will be a much better one. That's what I'm hoping for, and in terms of my bookish goals and in all of my life goals, that's what I want to try and work towards. So without any further ado, I have a list of 5 things that I really want to accomplish in this new year. So let's just get into them. I have my little notebook right here with all of my resolutions written in it, and the first resolution that I have is to set my Goodreads reading goal to 52 books and no more. This year, accomplishing my reading goal was extremely difficult for me, not because I'm not used to reading 65 books, which is what I had set it at, but because I just was so busy and so distracted by life. There was just a lot going on for me this year, and just life things got in the way, and it prevented me from easily being able to achieve my goal. And I don't want reading to ever be something that's competitive for me. It's always just supposed to be something that is fun and enjoyable and relaxing. It's my favorite hobby in the world, so I want it to feel like a hobby. I don't want to feel like I'm racing myself to try and finish a certain number of books. And for me personally, I know 52 is a good number. It's a number I can hit basically every single year because it's basically 1 book a week, if you consider it that way. And even if I'm not going to be reading 1 book every single week, because I won't have time for that, I know that already, there are weeks where I'll read like 4 books in 1 week. So I know that it's doable and manageable, and something that I think will take a bit of stress and pressure off of me when it comes to just accomplishing reading goals. And even though it's not a big thing, I know it's something that'll take at least a little bit of stress and pressure off of me, and that way I can also focus on reading books that I really want to read. Like, I don't have to just read some filler books to try and accomplish my goal. I can just read the books I really want to read, and then I will feel so much better about my reading, I think, and I will hopefully love the majority of the books that I read. Even though that tends to happen every year, I feel like there are some books that I kind of forget about as the year goes on, and I don't want that to happen. I want to love every single thing I read, and hopefully being able to tailor my reading in that way will definitely help me accomplish that. My second bookish goal is to finish every single book that I have already started. I've mentioned this quite a few times on my channel, but I tend to read multiple books at one time, and I'm also not the type of person who DNFs books. Like, I don't like to not finish a book. Even if I don't like the book, I still have to finish the book. I may finish the book 6 months from now, but I'm still gonna finish that book. But this year, I really want to try and finish everything that I've already started reading. There are at least like 10 to 15 books on my bookshelf that I've read a few chapters of, maybe 100 pages, maybe 300 pages of that book, but I just haven't finished it yet. And I really just want to be able to finish those books. It kind of makes me feel like I'm just left hanging in a lot of stories, and then my brain kind of gets scattered, and then I don't know what to pick up next because I'm like, I've already started this book, so why don't I just finish this book? But I don't feel like reading this book, so let me pick up something else. And then I start another book, and then 15 gets to 20, and then 20 gets to 25, and then it's going to be way too many books, and I'm never going to be able to know what to read. So yeah, that's one of my main goals. I want to try and finish a book right after I start it. So I'm still going to be reading multiple books at one time because I like reading in different formats. I like to listen to an audiobook and also read a physical book and also read a graphic novel or a poetry book all at the same time. And I'm still going to do that, but I want to finish everything I start before I start something else, if that makes any sense. Like, if I'm reading 4 books at one time, I'm going to finish those 4 before I pick up another 4 books. My third resolution is one that is kind of more channel related, but I want to start reviewing more books. I said this last year, I said this was something that I really wanted to do in 2017, but I actually never really ended up doing that. I started off the year reviewing a few more books, but then as the year went on, I feel like I just got lazier when it came to doing reviews because they are just so much work to do, and And that's not a bad thing. I actually love reviews. They're my favorite videos to film, but I just felt like they had to be perfect. Like if I said something wrong, then I could never change it, and then the video wouldn't be perfect anymore and I wouldn't like it. And I don't know, I just like got caught up in all of that for some reason. But now I kind of just want to take a step back from that, and when I read a book and I really like it, or I just have a lot of thoughts about the book, I want to review it as much as I possibly can. I would say I want to review every single book I read, but I just know that that's not manageable. And also, like, there are going to be books that are a single graphic novel from later on in a series, and I don't really think I want to do a review of that. But for the most part, if I read a new novel and it sticks with me, I'm definitely going to try and review it. And if I have a book that I read that I really didn't like, I'm also going to try and review those. I want to do like more negative reviews because I feel like I used to do that more often, and lately I haven't been doing it as much. And I don't mean that in the sense where I'm like completely trashing a book. I just mean that if I didn't like a book, I want to talk about why I didn't like the book, even if it's in a single dedicated review just to that book. And that being said, of course, I really want to start reviewing all of the books that I've really loved. And this goes along with reviewing some of the books that I read in 2017 but never got to review then that I really loved, like The Hate U Give. That's definitely one I want to do a review of. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, Eliza and Her Monsters. Those are just a few off the top of my head that I know that I loved so much, but I never did single reviews for them. And I want to go back and try and add those videos in there. So I definitely just want to make 2018 a year of more single book reviews because they're some of my favorite videos to film. They're some of my favorite videos to watch, so I don't know why I don't film them as often, and I'm definitely going to try and change that this year. My next goal is to read more diversely, and I mean this in two respects. Firstly, just in terms of genre, in terms of the types of books I read. I want to read more nonfiction, I want to read more adult fiction, more mystery thriller, just things that I don't tend to read as often, which is like fantasy and contemporary, which is what I've been leaning towards, especially this past year. So this next year, I really want to try and branch out in terms of the types of books I'm reading. There's so many nonfiction books that I really want to read that I just don't get around to. I feel like there's just not as much hype around them, so you don't hear about them as often, so it doesn't motivate me to pick them up as much, but I kind of want to change that. Like, I just want to pick up books that I just really feel like reading, whether or not anyone's going to care about those books. And then in the other respect, I want to read more diversely in terms of the types of stories that I'm reading. So I want to read more books with more diverse casts of characters, own voices novels that are written by authors of color about characters of color, stories that have characters with a multitude of different sexualities. I just want to read more books that reflect my reality and the reality of the world. And I try to do this as best as I can, but I know that I can be better about it. And I definitely want to make 2018 a year where I try and be better about this and read as diversely as I possibly can. And my fifth and final bookish goal for 2018 is that I want to start writing. I get asked this question a lot if I'm a writer, if I ever want to write a book or anything like that. And I usually say no because I'm not a writer. Like, I don't write very often, but I do have like ideas in my head a lot of the time. I have like this whole like note section on my phone that just has little random lines that just come into my head about I don't even know what. They're not part of any story that I've come up with, but I just like have a line and it comes into my head and then I just write it down because I don't want to lose it. And because I just don't feel like I'm a writer, because I've always just been very insecure about my own writing, especially when it comes to creative writing, I want to challenge myself this year to try and write some more, maybe just write some short stories or potentially start working on a novel. Something like that. It's not something that I expect to have completed or something that could ever be publishable even within like the next few years, but it's just something that I really want to start working on. It's something that I want to develop within myself. Like, I feel like it'll just be a good challenge for me, something that I'm not used to doing, but something that I really want to see if I can do, because it's something that I've always felt like I'm not good at and I want to prove myself wrong. So hopefully I will try to work on my own writing, and maybe potentially sometime in the future I'll write a book. We'll see. All right, guys, so that is it for my list of 2018 bookish goals or New Year's resolutions, whatever you want to call them. Let me know in the comments down below what any of your 2018 bookish goals are. If any of yours are the same as mine, hopefully we can just work towards them together and motivate each other. I'd really love to hear what any of your resolutions are, because there's definitely more things that I want to do in terms of my reading this year, but I just wanted to kind of tailor it to a doable, manageable list. But I know that I'll be inspired by all of your resolutions as well. Once again, a huge thank you to HarperCollins Publishers for sponsoring this video, and do not forget to check out Love, Life, and the List. All of the links for it and all the information for it will be in the description box if you're interested. But that is it for this video. If you'd like to follow me on any of my social media, all of my links are in the description box as always. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!